partnership between the Creative Assembly and Games Workshop was announced on the 6th of December 2012. It became clear that CA was planning on expanding into the Warhammer universe. 4 years later, Total War Warhammer released, as the first in its trilogy. But before all that could happen, CA had one more historical title to release, and it was truly the most historical of them all. And when I say that, I mean this title was the grittiest, the darkest, and the most realistic ever. Total War Attila. Built off the engine of Rome 2, Attila faced a lot of challenges from the very beginning. It was an uphill battle from the start. But taking their lessons from Rome 2, CA managed to pull it off. It was like another Napoleon Total War. It required one game to come before it that was too ambitious and failed, but then the next title would be more focused, and it fixed most of the issues of its predecessor, making it overall quite a nice, fun title to play. Although, despite this, very few people described it as a clone, most stating it as its own standalone game, unlike with Napoleon Total War where a lot of people thought it was a clone of Empire. The announcement of Warhammer Total War came with mixed opinions from Total War fans. Many of them were annoyed to hear their favourite historical game series is moving over to fantasy. Some people were excited and some people were neutral, saying they were going to give it a go anywhere, despite their opinion of Warhammer. Overall, it turned out that many of those people who did give it a go seemed to really enjoy the title, at least from the research that I got. Warhammer was set to launch on the 28th of April 2016, but it seemed CA had learnt their lesson from the past. They extended the game's release date by just one more month to clean up some bugs and fix the AI. The game launched to great reviews and ran, for the most part, smoothly. The Guardian reviewed the game by stating, "Total War Warhammer has done the best it can do with the legacy of the Total War engine, and is also a loving tribute to Warhammer," and I think that is perfectly true. Warhammer became the fastest selling Total War game, selling 500,000 copies in the first couple of days. Just 1 year later, 2017, Warhammer 2 released, again to great reception. The game was a massive step up in terms of graphics and content, and to this day continues to release DLC, 3LC and patches, and probably will do for another year, or at least until we begin to hear about Warhammer 3, which is expected. The game was nominated for 10 major awards for 13 different reasons, however it didn't receive anything. With Warhammer 1 releasing in 2016 and then Warhammer 2 in 2017, fans were expecting the third Warhammer installment to be released in 2018. But it wasn't. Instead came Thrones of Britannia. Then again in 2019, Three Kingdoms was announced, and now with Total War Saga Troy expected to be the 2020 release, it does not seem likely the players will be getting their hands on Warhammer 3 anytime soon. However, and trust me when I say this, after seeing the launch of Empire and Rome 2 Total War, do not worry CA, there's no rush. Please get it right. Thrones of Britannia came with a massive leaning in favour of battles, which is especially clear in the siege maps. Some of the best sieges do come from Thrones of Britannia, but the lack of campaign features because of this was a major turn-off for most people. And for one important person in particular. Now, I've avoided talking about YouTubers and also modders and the modding community in this series. Upon writing the script, I believe they deserved their own episodes in a way. So if this series does well for views, shares, subscriptions and all that stuff, then I'll look into a spin-off series looking into YouTubers and the history of modding in Total War. But one YouTuber who could not go unmentioned was Legend of Total War, and his Things Thrones of Britannia did not have video. This video was shared almost all over the place in the Total War community, and a lot of people began to really agree with him. There was a massive lack of gameplay features for the campaign. This was a massive hit for CA and Thrones of Britannia, to the point where it is currently the only Total War title to not receive any expansions or DLC, except for basic Blood and Burning pack, but that doesn't really count. The campaign did lack a lot of features, and many found the features they added to be not enjoyable. Despite this though, some campaign features did receive praise from players and critics, such as the tech tree, the food mechanic system, the invasion system, and the fact that different faction cultures had special abilities, an idea taken from the Warhammer series. The next Total War title was promised to feature a new era and would not be a sequel. Three Kingdoms Total War, set in medieval China. The game was delayed twice, but ran incredibly smoothly on launch. The game released with many promises. Firstly, it would have a fantasy and a historical element. Second, many features from the old titles, especially Rome Total War, also will make a return. Deflector hitboxes on shields, and a population mechanic, for example. The aim of Three Kingdoms was to create a Total War defined by its characters. Certain characters were made really good at the start, so that people have something to look up to and attempt to try and become through their characters. Three Kingdoms focused on the romance aspect and portrayed the heroes like demigods. Some people, however, thought these characters were a little bit too over the top. As for example, Lu Bu, one of the heroes, was able to kill 2,163 weak spear infantry in a test battle himself, before eventually getting killed. However, the game came with a records mode, which was a historical version of the game. However, this also cut a lot of content and did not seem to be enough to sway the historical fans into having high hopes for the game. In addition to this, the records historical mode was ran on a poorer engine, a 32-bit version of the Warscape engine, whereas Romance was able to run on a 64-bit version, making the records campaign itself literally naturally worse in quality than the Romance mode. Many players did not like the different names and kept getting confused and lost as they were so unfamiliar to them. Even the devs themselves admitted that they struggled with this at first, and often got the names mixed up in development. The art style used in game was done by an ink method, and after seeing the footage here, you have to give the devs credit for the effort put into those ink shots. Three Kingdoms was the most pre-ordered Total War game ever, and had around 160,000 people playing on release day, and almost 200,000 playing on the weekend, placing it as the largest played strategy game on Steam at any one time. The game sold over 1 million copies in its first week. Despite only being out for about 6 months, the game has already won 2 awards, with more to probably come. A new Saga title was coming, but the only Saga title fans could compare it to was the heavily negative reviewed Thrones of Britannia, and so the expansion Shogun 2 Fall of the Samurai became Fall of the Samurai, a Total War saga. As that game was very positive with its reviews, this was done to make the overall Saga series look bigger and like a success. However, many saw this as being wrong and as a false move by Sega. Since then, their once highly reviewed Fall of the Samurai has been bombarded with negative reviews over the name change. It has gone from being the game with one of the highest positive review ratings out of all Total War titles, right down to just mixed reviews. Yet again, a Saga title had failed. On the 19th of September 2019, CA announced their next title, a Saga title, expected to release in 2020, Total War Troy. The game is expected to lean more towards the historical side, but also taking certain liberties when it comes to the mythology. The devs will have a great challenge before them, trying to create a Total War title that goes further back than any other. Certain features, such as the lack of siege equipment and chariots rather than horses, will have to be taken into consideration and merged in with the style of gameplay we have come to know and love over the many years. Overall, I am so happy that I decided to pick Rome Total War up that day. Amongst a pile of loads of other games, I picked that one up and I don't regret my choice at all. The journey since then has been just great. I never thought it would lead to this at all. Many people do not like the direction the titles are taking, and I admit I am nervous about the future of Total War, but the fact I am nervous shows I still care and I'm still interested in this franchise. I am MELKOR. This has been the history of Total War. Thank you to all the people throughout this series who have left comments that I can use on videos and answered the survey for part 2 as well. It was very helpful in the creation of this series, and it made it quite unique as well. But what is to come next? What will MELKOR's Sunday series heading into 2020 be? Well, we are going to be creating, in our minds, Medieval 3 Total War. That's right, my next series will be my own and the community's opinions combined, and we will discuss what we want to see in Medieval 3, if it ever becomes a thing, that is. The scope of the map, the mechanics in the game, the factions, all of that, we will create it on a video series. It will be pointless, of course, as it won't be a game that we can play, it's just ideas in a video series, but I think a fan-made Total War game, even if it's only just the ideas, could be really fun to piece together, and who knows, maybe a dev may see it also and take a couple of features from it if they do think it is that interesting. That's if they even do plan on doing a Medieval 3. I think they do eventually plan to, but I don't know. More info on that in 2020, and the series will be about 3 to 4 parts. Subscribe if you have enjoyed, and I hope to see you in 4 years' time when I upload part 4 of this series. Or just tomorrow with my next video will also be fine. Goodbye.